Welcome to the Introduction to Microsoft Dynamics 365 course. Hi, my name is Lisa Sorensen with Summit Group Software. This course is intended to not only introduce the concept of sales, customer care, marketing, and the operation business applications, but to also dive deeper into terms, concepts, and many of the components that make up the Microsoft Dynamics 365 system. We will explore various business scenarios that can leverage the default sales, customer service, marketing, and operations functionality within Microsoft Dynamics 365. Now, it's important to note that no two businesses are the same. Even businesses that reside within the same industry might have different terminology that they use or how they refer to particular business concepts. So throughout this course, we'll attempt to grasp the concepts and intentions of the different record types to better understand how the various elements apply to various businesses to have it support their business processes, goals, and strategies. For this course, some of the objectives include to discuss the terms and components within Microsoft Dynamics 365 to grasp the concepts of how it all works together, to review how to access Microsoft Dynamics 365 and navigate through the various client types, to be able to apply general knowledge to common sales, customer care, and marketing scenarios, as well as to discuss the broad functionality that is provided within Microsoft Dynamics 365 for operations. Before diving into the functionality of the system, there are some key concepts and terms that can help you understand how the data is structured and related to each other in the system. In this module, we'll review the functionality of Microsoft Dynamics 365. We'll take a look at its functional areas, the entities, records, forms, and fields that make up the database. Additionally, we'll take a look at how those entities and records relate to each other, discuss the various ways to access the system, as well as how to get guided steps when you need some help while working in the system. In this module, the objectives are to recognize the basic Microsoft Dynamics 365 functional areas, to walk through scenarios for better understanding of the entity relationship model, to evaluate the difference between forms, fields, records, and entities, to discuss the different access types, and finally, to review the Microsoft Dynamics 365 help areas. Microsoft Dynamics 365 is a suite of intelligent business applications that can include sales, service, marketing, as well as operations. Each of these areas serve to help an organization deliver upon their customer relationship strategies and provide an organizational perspective on those relationships. Let's discuss at a high level what each area contains. First, we have sales. Some of the common record types we'll talk about in the sales business application are leads and opportunities. Next, we have the service business application. Within the service business application, some of the common record types found are cases, entitlements, and the knowledge base. Additionally, we have marketing, which can help us create brand awareness of who we are. The most common record types used are marketing lists and campaigns. And finally, with operations, it provides an ERP solution for businesses by managing operations through shared master data, and it has capabilities to support financials, supply chain, project management, and human resources. So let's walk through some of these applications in a little more detail. Microsoft Dynamics 365 allows users to track different kinds of records that one might categorize as prospects, clients, and the individuals connected to those clients. The different records can be broken up into leads, accounts, and contacts. First, we'll discuss leads. A lead represents a potential customer with whom an existing relationship does not likely exist. For example, if a salesperson meets someone at a trade show and receives a business card, they might not know if this person is a viable customer or not. It is only after the salesperson has called upon this person or followed up with them in some way that they can determine if their needs align with what the salesperson and the organization can deliver. Once this is determined, a salesperson can measure how viable they are. If they are a viable customer, the lead would be qualified. If they're not considered a viable customer, the lead would be considered disqualified. Then we have accounts. An account generally represents a company or organization that is considered qualified, or companies that we've done business with for a period of time. In other words, an account is a group of people. Now, it's important to note that different companies may not refer to an account in this way and may use a different term. With that said, by utilizing Microsoft Dynamics 365's customization and configuration capabilities, the name of any of these record types or entities can be changed to align more closely with the company's needs and business as necessary. And then finally, we have contacts. Now, unlike accounts, a contact represents a person. An account can also be considered a customer, as if we're doing a business to person relationship. Additionally, in some cases, an organization who is using accounts within Microsoft Dynamics 365 might decide that they need to associate or link an account record with, or a contact record with an account record. For example, if Microsoft is set up as an account within Microsoft Dynamics 365, then there might be several contacts linked within the account. Another business application we'll be talking about in this course is the customer care functionality or the service business application. In this business application, there's various types of elements such as case management, and this might be considered a support case, a question, or even a request. Within Microsoft Dynamics 365, the case management functionality allows organizations to manage issues or questions to a resolution. And we also have entitlements. An entitlement represents a contract that a customer has purchased from you for a certain number of allotments. The allotments could be a certain number of cases or even a certain amount of time that they get with you to be able to have support. This means that they'll be provided support from your organization based on those number of cases or based on that number of time. For example, your organization may offer your customers the option to purchase an entitlement to provide 24 cases for a certain product over a 12-month time period. Additionally, within the application, we have the ability to have service level agreements or SLAs. Now, a service level agreement represents an agreement, either written or even more of a de facto kind of agreement, between you and your customer. It defines a level of service that they can expect from you. For example, if a customer contacts you with an issue regarding a product, you have an agreement that you will contact that customer within a 3-hour window of time and will work with the customer to resolve the issue within a 3-day time period. Now, it's also possible to have SLAs tied to customer-specific entitlements. So, the customer may have 24 support cases available to them over a 12-month time period. And for each case submitted, we have 3 hours to contact the customer regarding the issue and 3 days to resolve each one of those cases. There's also the knowledge base. Within Microsoft Dynamics 365, you have the ability to create a repository of different types of support articles or informational articles that can be used either internally or sent externally to your customers to help them out. And then lastly, another component of the service application is the Interactive Service Hub. This is an intuitive and interactive experience for managing your customer service within the Dynamics 365 environment in a single place. It's loaded with rich dashboards and forms that pull together key service-related information, so it's possible to focus on what's important and get things done faster. And then we have another area of the system, which is the marketing functionality. So why does a company do marketing and how does it tie to the overall Dynamics 365 strategy? Well, one of the keys to maintaining a customer base, as well as increasing the number of customers or clients an organization has, is to perpetuate your brand or creating awareness. Creating awareness is about who you are, what you do, and what makes you different from other viable option. Involves identifying what you do well, developing your message, and identifying who should get that message, getting it out there, and then tracking the effectiveness of that message. In other words, purposeful marketing is vital and can result in the development of a brand and get your organization's message to those who need it. Microsoft Dynamics 365 provides the tools to make it easier for your marketing staff to take advantage of the customer data you already have. They can join efforts with sales and more easily evaluate the success of marketing efforts. Overall, Microsoft Dynamics 365 enables you to extend effectiveness of your marketing department. Using marketing campaigns, marketing lists, and campaign templates, marketing employees can identify, execute, and replicate effective marketing initiatives across sales channels. And finally, we have the Dynamics 365 for Operations. The Dynamics 365 for Operations is the Microsoft Enterprise Resource Planning solution for businesses that support global organizations by managing multi-site operations through shared master data and business processes in a single instance. It includes rich ERP capabilities for industry operational workloads such as retail, manufacturing, and public service, as well as horizontal operational workloads, including project management, budget foundation, and expense management, along with administrative core workloads of financials and human resource. So within a single solution, Microsoft Dynamics 365 for operations helps enterprises meet their business requirements easily with deliberately built capabilities for various industries. A key part of understanding how Microsoft Dynamics 365 works is to understand how records are related to one another. For example, if an account is a company and you want to keep track of key employees within that company, these people could be stored as contacts. In other words, a contact is related to an account. To better understand the relationship of the different entities in the system, let's walk through a few basic examples of how records can relate to one another. So let's start with a basic contact. An account can be tied to a contact, in that a contact could be an employee. So it is possible for one account to have many contacts tied to it. There are also opportunities in the system. An opportunity represents a potential sale, and it is possible for one account to have multiple opportunities tied to it. As part of those opportunities with the account, it is possible that you're working with the contact linked to that account as well. For example, you're selling to a company that requires multiple people within their organization to agree to the terms of a sale. In this situation, you might link multiple contacts from that company or the account to a sales opportunity, or even have different contacts from the same company linked to several opportunities. Additionally, within Microsoft Dynamics 365, users can also be defined as a salesperson. And a salesperson is typically someone who's responsible for the relationship of a certain company or an account or contact. That same salesperson may also be the key person responsible for selling that company goods or services. One user in Dynamics 365 can be tied to multiple accounts. And it is also possible for one user to be the owner responsible for multiple opportunities. Now, this is just one basic example of how records can be tied to one another to meet your business objectives. As you can tell, the entity relationships are bidirectional, which makes it so that you can open any of these records and navigate to the others within each entity. Now let's take a look at another one. Another kind of record or a relationship within the system is called a connection. Record connections provide a valuable piece of functionality for a sales user. They allow users to create links between two different records. For example, if we have an account called AdventureWorks, there's also a user named Connie Watson, and Connie is managing their account. Now, Connie is also the manager or the account manager for Litware Inc. And there's a new opportunity that evolved from a referral from AdventureWorks. So Connie could create a connection between AdventureWorks and the opportunity by selecting the referrer as the connection. So in this situation, what we're really establishing here is a sort of interwoven relationship between different accounts, different users, opportunities, as well as other customer records within the system. In a real-life sales scenario, it is really a common thing that can occur. Additionally, another way that connections can be used in the sales process is to identify stakeholders and influencers for a particular company, opportunity, lead, or practically any record within the system itself. And within Microsoft Dynamics 365, we would call these relationships record connections. In this lesson, we will discuss in more detail how Microsoft Dynamics 365 models relationships and records. First, let's define a few basic elements you'll hear referenced throughout this course. The first one is we have what we call an entity. An entity is a record type. For example, an account, a contact, lead, sales order, opportunity, or even case are all examples of different record types. Oftentimes, you will hear these record types referred to as entities. And as we briefly discussed, any entity essentially can be related to another entity. The next term you'll hear often is a record. A record is an instance of an entity. So if a contact is an entity, Jim Glenn could be an example of a record of a contact record type. Now, the magic of the system is the ability to have relationships between records and multiple entities. Another term used within the system is a field. A field is a single data point relating to an entity, or stated differently, a field is a place where you put data into the system. For example, if you look at a contact, a field might be a name, a phone number, or even a job title. These are all considered fields. And it's important to note that additional fields can be added to the system when needed. And finally, we have forms. A form is a collection of fields for one kind of entity presented so that data can be entered or modified. In other words, think of it as a collection of fields. Take, for example, if a record type is an account, and the Alpine Ski House is an example of an account, and one of the fields is city or state, a form would be a data interface element that allows me to input information related to the account, such as name, city, state, zip code, phone number, and any other data elements that are specific to the account record type. So now that we've discussed some of the elements in the relationships, let's take a look at the different ways that Microsoft Dynamics 365 can be accessed. When using Microsoft Dynamics 365, there are various option types to choose from, whether you're in the office or on the road. First, there's the web client. This is probably the primary interface you've seen so far. With the web client, you can access your environment from anywhere where you have internet access and a browser. So in other words, when you're on a desktop or on a laptop, you're probably using the web client. The other option you have in terms of accessing the application is through Microsoft Outlook using the Dynamics 365 app for Outlook. Within Microsoft Outlook, you have the ability to experience a highly integrated Microsoft Outlook and Dynamics 365 interface. It provides significant features such as access to all of your Microsoft Dynamics 365 records right through the Outlook interface, removing the need to open a separate window or a separate application. And then finally, another option when it comes to interfacing with the Dynamics 365 environment is the use of a mobile device or a tablet. Microsoft Dynamics 365 allows you to access your data on the go when it's not always convenient to be in the office. These clients have all the same functionality of the web or Outlook clients, but also includes a personalized action hub to help you get common tasks more quickly. A pane that appears when the app is launched, and the workspace includes a list of suggested priorities or action cards in the left-hand column. So regardless of the interface I use, if I go through the Outlook client, through a tablet client, or through the web client, the data I'm looking at is exactly the same. And if I take action on a contact or an account or an opportunity, that same action, regardless if it's the edit I make or a record I create, will be available in all the client types. Whether I'm searching for data, working with records, managing those records, or even analyzing my performance by going to dashboards, they are all available through each and every one of those different user interfaces. Even though Microsoft Dynamics 365 is very innovative and useful, there will most likely be a point in time where you need help with something. This is what the Dynamics 365 Help Hub provides. The Dynamics 365 Help Hub is a collaboration of videos, community blogs, support, administration tools, developer center, and help and training links. Within Microsoft Dynamics 365, the Help Hub is available using a single button within the system. On the title bar of the system, you'll see a question mark button, and that is going to lead you to the help files. The details of the Help Hub is divided into sections based upon the entity you were last on or the business application you were last accessing. For better ease of use, there are even links for other Microsoft-related content such as social media pages to check out. For example, if you are in the account form and you click on the Help button, the Help Hub will provide a page dedicated specifically to accounts. If you're on a sales dashboard, it'll bring you to an area related to the sales module dashboards. The same Help Hub functionality applies throughout the entire system in all business applications. Now that we have a general idea about the Help Hub and generally where we might find it, let's walk through a brief demonstration of how we could access the Help Hub and what the help area actually looks like. All right, so we're in Dynamics 365 to go through and take a look at some of the help functionalities that we have within the system. One of the things we're going to go ahead and do is from the business application dropdown, we're going to go to accounts. And from my active accounts, we're going to open up one of the account records. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the Coho Winery account record. As we talked about, when it comes to help, we actually do have context-based learning or context-based help. So regardless of where I am in the system, I can access the help at any time. By up in my title bar, you'll see I have a question mark up there. Now, when I click on that question mark, you'll see it pulls up the Help Hub. And from this Help Hub, I can use any kind of global search if I'm looking for something specific, or as you'll see, under the contextual help, I can click on the link to open help topic for this page. When I click on that link, you'll see it opens up a separate web page. And from that web page, I now have the steps to be able to walk through how to create an account, as well as how to edit the account. So I can also, if I want to, be able to take that information and be able to have it separately from the application so that I can go through and work on that as necessary. Now, the other option I can do is right from here is because it is a separate web page, you'll see over on the See Also side, I can scroll down and see that if we're talking about creating an editing account, some of the other tasks that we might want to have help on, and I can actually have recommended help topics as well. So I go to, let's say, for example, assign a record to a user team, and you'll see that I'm given the same steps of how to be able to go through and assign the user a record. Now, if I want to be able to go back to the main help page, I can simply click on the link for help and training. And when I click on the link for help and training, you'll see that I actually have it centralized by specific topics. Of course, I can search for any topic. I can go through and look at the specific topics, what we've discussed of being what's new, getting started, ebooks and videos, looking for admin content. And then if I continue to scroll down, you'll see that I have help broken out by the different business applications, as well as possible other topics such as user guides, our mobile apps, data management, Outlook, even dashboards and reports. So if I go and I click on Get Started, you'll see that it now allows me to go in and again choose which link that I want to get started on. So if I go to the sales user guide, from here, again, that user guide is now broken out in very clear defined topics so that if I want to see, and you'll also see that it will track as to some of the links that I've gone through and I've looked at before. So I can also get the same help by going in and using the application itself. But just to go through and take a look at some of the other help functionalities. If I go back to my main help and I go to ebooks and videos, you'll see from the ebooks and videos, again, I can look at either new features or I can break it down based on my business applications, my mobile apps, even Outlook, or for admins. So if I go to sales, you'll see that from sales, not only are there specific ebooks that I can look at, being CRM basics for sales pros and service reps, but also if I continue to scroll down, you'll see that I have certain videos that I can even go in and I can watch videos to get more details on that topic itself. So again, just going through and taking a look at some of the other functionalities. If I just want to go through, and again, we break it down based on topic. If I go to customer service, again, you'll see that I could go through and be able to drive and look at the information. And even right from here, I have a video available to me. So a couple of the other ones, just looking at this, is when we go back down, again, we've talked about our user apps. If I go to data management and just take a look at some of the other options, you'll see I even have an ebook for importing contacts, import accounts, leads, and other details, and other links that are available. So if I want to learn more about dashboards, again, I actually have an ebook for creating and customizing dashboards. So that's everything that we have available just from the help and training page. And this page is updated and refreshed regularly with the most current information. So if I want to see what's new, you'll see that I can actually even then track back to prior versions to see the new functionality based on the versions that we're working with. And you can now look at and get a breakdown of some of the new functionality. Now, one of the other things that they've also incorporated in this version is from this Help Hub is it's part of what they call the learning plan. And what that learning plan is a guided tutorials or guided steps within the system so that as you're working on the information, it will help guide you through completing that task. So for example, if I go to that Help Hub, and from that Help Hub, I click on Import Your Data. One of the things that you'll see is it takes me directly to the section or the portion of the application where I can go in and I can import the data. And you'll see it says learn where and how. So if I click on that step, you'll now see I have prompters to help prompt me through this information. So from here, I can click on the next button. And when I click on the next button, you'll now see it gives you tips on this information. And again, as I continue to click on next, so it talks about the data maps, it talks about my templates, and continues to walk me through the steps until I have it completed. And then I can click on got it. And now you'll see that once I've done that, it now shows that that step has been completed. And once the step has been completed, I can move to the next step. So it actually guides you through all of the necessary steps to complete the tasks. And then if I want, again, just to go back to my Help Hub, you'll see it goes back and allows me to go back to that Help Hub. So if there's other information that I want to get detailed on, I have that set up and I have that available. Now, in looking at that, one of the things that you will find is when it comes to working with the Help Hub, again, the Help Hub itself is actually part of the learning path. And that's an option with the Help Hub. They've now had it to where you can actually create custom content libraries off of the learning path. Now, in order to do so, there are some configurations that do need to be set up. And if we go through and just take a look at, under the settings, one of the things that you'll find is if I go from my settings to administration, and from the administration, I'm going to click on system settings. From the system settings, under the general tab, you'll see that there's some general configurations, and keep in mind that this is not a functionality that's available for all users. There are certain security roles that will have the ability to go through and use and configure these functionalities. But in doing so, if I continue to scroll down, you'll see that there's a setting there for set custom help URL. And one of the options that you have is to enable the learning path. So again, this is a system configuration, which means that all users, when they log in, will have the learning path enabled. I also have the option, though, to enable learning path authoring. So if we have standard business processes that we do within the system and we want our users to be able to have that available, we can create a content library so that as part of that Help Hub, it will actually be customized so we can have custom URLs. So if we want to have certain videos that we're creating or documentation and steps that we want to use, we can create our own learning path or content library for setting up and configuring the system. And then once we have it set up and configured, then it will be available from the settings, under the training, under the content library. Now at the same time, one of the things that you'll also notice, so I'm going to navigate back to my sales module. And from my sales module, I'm just going to go back to my home page, which has my dashboard. The learning path itself is enabled by default, which means when you look at the help icon, you'll see that it looks like a little call out button with the question mark within that call out button. So when I click on it, it pulls up the Help Hub. Well, as we mentioned, that this is part of the learning path, but this is also an option that I can turn on and off. So under my personal settings, when I click on the actual settings, right off the settings menu, there's an option to opt out of the learning path. If I select that option, once I select that option, you'll notice that that call out is no longer there and it changes to a regular question mark. Not only is it changed to a regular question mark, but what now happens is this is now true the context help, in that if we go back to my accounts and I open up an account record, that when I'm in that account record, if you remember, when I clicked on the help icon, I actually had the Help Hub pull up and prompt me to decide what I want to do. But now when I click on the help icon, you'll see that instead, immediately it now pulls up that context sensitive help. So that again, if I'm in an account record, it pulls up the information regarding an account. If I'm in my active accounts and I click on the help icon, you'll see it pulls up the same information of how to create or edit account. But let's say if I go back to my main page, which is my dashboards, and I'm within my dashboards, and I click on the help icon, you'll now see that it is taking me to the user guide because it is the main page based on that business application that I'm currently in. Now, that learning path, because it is user specific, you'll see that you can opt in and opt out. So if I choose to opt in, again, you'll now see once I opt in, that it changes back to that call out with the question mark inside the call out. And when I click on it, I now have the Help Hub pull up once more. So using the learning path, it is an option that you can configure both at a system level, but then also be able to go through and decide whether or not you want to have the learning path be enabled or disabled on a user by user basis. But regardless of where you are in the system, you will always have help available to you if you need additional information or additional details on how to complete that task. Or if we run into it, you can also see that you can now create more customized or business specific content library to help your users better embrace and understand the system. Now, this module was just a high-level overview of Microsoft Dynamics 365. We'll discuss these components in greater detail as we progress further into this course. In this module, the objectives were to recognize the basic Microsoft Dynamics 365 functional areas, to walk through scenarios for a better understanding of the entity relationship model, to evaluate the difference between forms, fields, records, and entities, to discuss the different access types, as well as to review the Microsoft Dynamics 365 help areas.